Welcome back, everybody, to day 17 of breaking through your matrix programming with your energy coaches and energy trainers, Jona, Bryndis,
and Jeff Casper.
And thank you for watching, everybody. I want to express my gratitude to you for your dedication to yourself. This is getting into the deeper aspects of our inner and outer integrity now. And if you've been following us these past 16 days, then you may have realized that things are a lot more complex than you thought they were. And this is kind of like the point of these life energy training lessons, namely to guide you deeper, not the mainstream stuff, but to show you the true layers of your ability to connect within, your ability to connect and relate with your world around you, and of course these things that keep you in what we call the collective energies or matrix experience, the phantom pains and the phantom fears, of being caught in that collective karma as we illuminated it yesterday. Yes, and the reason why we do this live is to be able to respond to your comments and your questions. So thank you for sharing where you're from. Let us know how these lessons that we are relaying here, how they resonate with you. We're getting into the deeper part now. So if you thought we were already deep, we're going one step deeper, and that is into why do we all still have this yearning, this longing for knowing who we are? Why is it so difficult to let go of these attachments that we've looked at? And we've mentioned words such as wholeness and fragmentation here in the last couple of days, only to show you that there are layers of your energy that are in the more mystical, that are not so easy to be addressed through our ego minds. In fact, it is our very ego perception, as we now know, that prevents us from actually seeing that. And so it feels like a self-perpetuated circle that we are running in as we are trying to find our way to fulfillment, our way to our true calling, our true purpose in life. And while we're doing this, we are experiencing a lot of pain, a lot of re-traumatization of existing things in us that we just can't seem to be able to shake loose. So what is it? What is the missing ingredient? Why do we feel like we're running in circles? We're trying so hard. We keep on finding ourselves in the same place over and over again. What is the part that can mend all these fragments in us, that can help us to get past our inner fragments, our inner unwholeness, so to speak, and get us into that place of embodying our sovereignty here as an energetic being? The healing resonance needed to get into this place of inner integrity is love, is the resonance of love. It is not to be confused with romantic love. There is a specific purpose of romantic love in our lives, but the main idea of attuning ourselves to the higher vibratory approach is through love and self-love. In the Sacred Self-Healing Program, where these training lessons are from, this step is called Love and Relationships, but we are contextualizing our journey here in conjunction with matrix programming, with collective energies. And so the important thing here to see is that the gracefulness, the way we walk the talk, the way we truly begin to be on the path of our self-fulfillment expresses in our relationships, expresses in the way we relate to ourselves and the world around us. Mm-hmm. And therefore, when we go into these higher vibratory pathways here for the last 5 days of this program, I want you to understand that these are things that begin to be difficult to put into words, and we won't be able to break them down into physical, emotional, mental, social, spiritual implementation steps. Instead, we will help you to attune to these higher vibratory levels of existence and ask you, to dedicate this day or this phase of your journey to contemplate about these principles that we are introducing to you. Yes, welcome New Zealand, welcome Europe, welcome Australia.
That's awesome.
Welcome United States, welcome Canada. Mm-hmm. You are present as well. It is in our human nature to not really being ready for change until the pain of staying where we are becomes stronger or greater than the fear of uncertainty, the fear of the unknown. So it's very important that you understand that the reason why you keep running into circles is not because you're not getting it, it's because you're using the wrong tools to get it, all right? So understanding these different layers of ego attachments and ego perception that prevent us from breaking through our matrix programming is one part of the journey, and we can improve on that through self-correction over time, because the more you pay attention to it, the more you will realize how there are still small improvements that need to be made. But the other side of the healing process, and what really sort of makes a difference in your life, is the ability to fully activate your inner self-healing, to connect with this self-healing consciousness, the divine field in you, as we called it earlier here on our journey. And so follow me here into a deeper understanding of healing resonances with the example of love and self-love. Just to give you a little introduction here into what self-love really means for our self-healing journey. It is unconditionally loving ourselves that allows us to overcome our inner belief that we are flawed and that we need to be in a certain way, or that we need to do certain things, or that we have to have certain things in order to deserve love. Self-love means that you made yourself the subject of your love. This is a core part of this lesson here, and we would like to discuss this with you, namely what it actually is that makes us not being able to fully trust in this love within us, this unconditional love for ourselves and others, and therefore what drives us into externalizing that power, that healing power through love. So most of us find themselves on a journey that basically just seeks for one representation or fulfillment of this inner yearning from the other. We make the outside the mirror of how we feel about ourselves. We see ourselves through the eyes of others, and therefore we get caught in the cycle of seeking for approval, for validation, that we have the right to be here, that we have the right to love, that we have the right to exist, really. And so the main principles here of love and relationships as means or as tools to approach the higher vibratory aspects of our journey lie in understanding how our relationship to the world reflects our relationship within ourselves. And, you know, we've all heard this before. If we cannot love ourselves, we cannot love others. Yes, and there's no contradiction in most of us with this. However, there is a big contradiction when it comes to actually implementing this. And so, in order to manifest a life in truth and abundance of love, what is it that you think we need the most? We've already discovered a few things in us that hold us back from getting to this place, and that is trust. That is deservingness. Many of us, deep down, don't believe that they deserve love, and therefore we make others responsible for giving us this love, for making us happy. Another frequent misconception is that love is really something that needs to be held on to, that needs to be forced, that needs to, you know, be controlled in some way. That has to do with our belief that we have to be in a certain way, and therefore love becomes a matter of giving and receiving. So I'm only giving you love if you give me love, or I'm only loving you if you love me in return. This is what we call conditional. That's conditionality. True love, true self-love, true attunement to this higher vibratory resonance means that we can unconditionally love ourselves and others.
And the whole process of what we're going through here, the fact that you're all still, you know, working towards this every day, the entire process is beginning to love yourself more. That's what you're doing every step of the way. When you agree to get out of the collective programming, to get out of non-integrous behavior or emotionality and too much mentalism, you're actually stepping into, by accepting, by looking, by going in and feeling these things out, dealing with the pain. Those are all acts of self-love. And what you're actually doing between becoming integrous and then working towards getting out of your own personal karma is you're slowly stripping away every condition that you have to be loving. It's a beautiful process. And what you can start to do as you do this is you can begin to look at things and see, like, I can love this about myself, but I still have a problem with that. I love this about this situation, but I can't hear. Those are all conditions that you can work on.
So the reason why we contextualize love and healing from, you know, the things that hold us in the ego perception, the collective karmic experience or matrix programming, if you will, is because the principles of self-healing and the principles of love are the same. They're both based on allowing ourselves to consciously and responsibly living and interacting with others. And therefore, we want to ask you in this step to look at some of the deeper parts of your practical daily interactions. And I want you to close your eyes right now and just feel into some of the things that we're going to share with you here for now. I want you to go deeper within and fully understand the resonance of lovingness. So in order to change your experiences in your relationships with yourself and others, from conditional to unconditional, it requires you to shift your focus from what you do to what you are. We already talked about this. But in order to transcend the programmed perception of love and truth from conditions, structures, objects, externalizations, projections, and attachments to love, we need to look at our matrix conditioning that typically guided us into a certain type of experience of love. So the early experiences of love in our life determine the way we relate to ourselves and the world. Through experiencing ourselves as flawed, unreliable, and not trustworthy, we develop then a perception of ourselves that makes it difficult for us to love ourselves. We cannot feel safe with ourselves. And so we've come to the conclusion that we cannot trust ourselves, and often even that we are not lovable or worthy of love. Assuming that other people are just like us, we lost the ability to trust altogether in self, in our partner, in friends, and family, in society, humanity, and love as a whole. This then cements our false perceptions, it perpetuates all our ego attachments, and that the world and others are unsafe, punitive, or overpowering. So out of this void of inner safety and love within, we developed all these mechanisms to avoid trust and responsibility so that we can better cope with our fear. Can you connect with that? For most of us, the loss of trust in our sovereignty and self-love is the actual underlying cause for all our ego attachments, shadow traits, addictions, susceptibility to collective energies, and all other strategies to replace inner safety with externalizations of our power to others or some kind of force or entity outside of us. If we truly want to transform our inner and outer relationships, we need to be willing to transform the quality of our inner relationship. And this has to happen first. So in order to love without pain, without fear, guilt, shame, anger, lust, pride, you name it, we need to move beyond our current limitations of being able to love ourselves. So self-healing means, in essence, becoming aware and forgiving ourselves for all our limitations and perceived flaws. But to fully accept and love all our parts, to fully feel whole within, including all our coping strategies, our ego attachments, our karma, whether we like it or not, we need to apply compassion and a deeper understanding that everyone has these limitations. This puts a whole different light on forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a givingness. It is not something that we give away. It is something that we give to ourselves, and we have to give this to ourselves first so that we can fully make ourselves the subject of love and not the object. Otherwise, we will continue to project. We will avoid, we will blame, and we will keep on running in dependency patterns with others. Any aspect that we cannot love about ourselves externalizes our inner love, and with it, our inner power. Are you ready to break through your matrix programming? Are you ready to take full responsibility for your own energy? Are you ready to fully activate the healer in you, the self-healing consciousness, and to own your part in your story? Are you willing to leave your karma behind you and to fully restore your integrity as a sovereign of your soul, of your journey here incarnated in this body? Are you willing to disclose your secrets, your payoffs, your patterns, and all other perceived limitations? Are you willing to truly forgive yourself and others so that you and everyone you relate to or connected with can move on? Are you willing to trust in your heart no matter what the outcome? To listen and to follow your inner voice, your true inner voice? And to understand that your inner alignment is what shapes your future and not the circumstances or what other people do or the system for that matter. Are you open for more lessons, for more learning experiences that want to show you how to unconditionally love yourself? Are you open to believe in and experience divine love in all its expressions within yourself and through others? Are you open for new ways of interacting with others? Basically, to live your fearless heart, to be vulnerable? Or are you still trying to change or fix others, or the world, or your partner? Are you still looking for the right one, the one and only? Are you still longing for something outside of you that you cannot feel within? Something you think you need or cannot give yourself? You are ready for becoming the sovereign of your own journey when you are truly ready to deal with your past, your present, and your future, and to let go and heal anything that has attached you to the pain and the fear that comes in through the matrix programming around you. You can open your eyes now. Are you guys still there? Okay, this is something that cannot really be addressed or talked about when in this mental state that we typically are. And so most of you, who have been on this journey for a while will perhaps now begin to understand why it is so important to let all these things go, that got you here. Yes, there is a phase in your journey where it makes sense to look at these things because it becomes easier for us to elevate ourselves when we understand what it is that is holding us back. But then, it has to get to that place where we actually do it. Mm-hmm. And without being in this state and attuning to this kind of healing resonance that can mend all these inner conflicts, inner contradictions, outer contradictions, it will be very difficult to break through the things that come in through your daily exposure, through other people. And so self-healing and love are intrinsically connected, and they require you to understand that without a loving view of yourself and the world, you won't be able to escape that experience here in the collective. And all we're really asking you to do now as homework is to get into that place of forgiveness for real, not just theoretically, for real. Thank you for your beautiful comments. Yes, get ready for this here as we are dealing with these higher vibratory healing resonances. So if you feel this in your heart right now and you start to cry or you have spontaneous things coming up for you, it's because you're allowing this healing resonance to come in. Right? And these are things that cannot be described with words. They have to be experienced. That's why we talk so much about internalizing this. So as your homework, all we want you to do is to get into action and make amends to yourself, your true self. And then make amends to others for any kind of ignorance, non-understanding, harm that was done to you, that you did to others. It doesn't matter. Any type of attachment that you have. And even if you just start a sentence with, you know what? I'm sorry for not seeing this before, but I'm seeing this now. This is how you apply the healing resonance of unconditional love, of self-love.
Yes. And that's how you change. You begin. You start the process and keep going.
The associated energy work technique with this training lesson today is attunement. And the energy training transmissions that go with this step is the Grace True Love transmission, Grace Soul Reunification, and our Healing Circle workshops. So this gave you a good taste of what it's like when you actually work with your inner energies here within the Sacred Self-Healing Program. We do this with meditations that are provided with each of these steps. So that's all for today. This concludes day or phase 17 of your journey with us here. You can look forward to more of this tomorrow when we talk about the deeper letting go process. How to let go things in love. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Wonderful comments. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.